Good day. Today I've got a beer that's a denizen of the warm beer section in the BC liquor stores. Constant resident, sandwiched between many different other beer brands, never ever to grace the refrigerated section whatsoever. But hey, plenty of great beers are there. In fact, there's most of the best ones ain't in the refrigerated section. Talking about Persephone Golden Goddess Ale. Now, I've seen this at the liquor store, and it's always in possibly the worst display possible. It's always like sandwiched between like bigger beer cans, like tall ones are always right next to it, maybe even a few bottles, even though it's not the bottled section. And so I've seen it, but never paid much attention to it. Perhaps because maybe the name just is like, okay, whatever. It reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons with Homer's half-brother.
You're gonna love this, Chief. The Persephone.
Persephone? Mm-hmm. What the hell kind of name is Persephone?
She was the Greek goddess of spring and rebirth.
Oh.
And get this, sir. She was carried off to Hades by the king of the underworld. While there, she ate 6 pomegranates.
People don't want cars named after hungry old Greek broads!
And for beer, it's a similar thing. It's like, it's not really a great name for a beer. Or maybe it makes it seem like it's not the target demographic, whatever that might be. Hippies? Well, who knows? I'm not going to judge the beer by its cover, because, you know, why would I? That's what this show is for. So let's just go on the blurb. Let's see, where is it made? Gibson's. It's made in Gibson's on the Sunshine Coast. That's basically the only place more hippie-ish than Vancouver Island. Alright, so let's see. Persephone is a social venture. Committed to being ecologically and socially responsible. Our farm in Gibsons, BC grows hops, beer, and community. The Golden Goddess Ale is crisp, dry, and refreshing with a light biscuity malt character and delicate hop aroma. Okay, so it's either a hippie venture or a cult. Perhaps both. But what matters most is their beer delicious? Is it robust? And is it free of cyanide-laced Kool-Aid? Let's find out. Biscuity, that's a strange word for beer. The question is, when they say biscuity, do they mean North American biscuits or the British biscuits, which are totally different? We'll find out. Anyway, it's, for a name called Golden Goddess, it's actually more of an amber color. That's kind of strange, but you know, I guess it's slightly goldish. No, it's amber. It's more amber than gold. All right, let's... It's got a sweet malt scent to it. Kind of like the barest hint of... I almost get like the barest hint of cookies being baked in the oven if you're like on the other side of the house or something. For the most part, it just smells sweet. Malty. But yeah, I do get a hint of like baked dough at the end of that. Kind of interesting. But in the end, it's very malty, very standard malty scent otherwise. It's got, I wouldn't use the word biscuity for it. I do see what they mean by biscuity. It's not really the word I would use. The word I would use, and you may think I'm going to be insulting this beer when I say this, I'm not. Bread crusts, like, you know, on the crust of your sandwich, a white bread sandwich. It gives me a flavor very reminiscent of that. And I'm not saying this to trash the beer. I actually, as a kid, I always liked the bread crusts. I was never one of those kids, or God help me, adults, who get their mom or their, or God help me, their wife, to cut off the bread crust on their sandwich. So I always liked bread crust. And yeah, so this is actually tastes, it's actually, although it sounds disparaging, I'm actually complimenting it. Actually, it's kind of a bit of a bready taste, but it's got, more of the thick heaviness that bread crust would have. More of the, you know what I mean. That's the comparison I'm making. Aside from that, the primary flavor is a sweet malt. Pretty standard sweet malt with the bread crust flavor kind of adding to it. It must be the hops that are giving it that, which I wonder what hops they're using because I've never really... Yeah, they don't say. Certified B Corporation, what the hell is that? Anyway, it's probably the hops that are giving it that flavor. The primary flavor is the sweet malt, though. It's a pretty standard ale malt, but the little bread crust flavor there gives it a bit of an extra kick, and it's kind of interesting, actually. I enjoy it. If you're one of those 30-year-old people who still cuts off their bread crusts, or God help me, won't eat pizza crust without dipping sauce, you might be a little repelled, because it's very similar to bread crust. Me, though, I'm an adult, so I like it. I definitely give it a try. It's actually pretty reasonably priced. Standard price, $11.99 in BC. You can find it in the provincial liquor store's warm beer can section. I haven't seen many private ones. I think I've seen that one private stock their other ale, but not this Golden Goddess, which seems to be their primary flagship one. Or at the very least, it's the number one listed on their website. Alright. I'm gonna go enjoy this beer now. I'll catch you later. Cheers.